Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a relationship talk. I am back with the lovely Enolia. Hello, Enolia.
Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here and back together to share.
It has been a little while, hasn't it, Enolia, since we've
It has
had a little conversation. And tonight, we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic, something which is very dear to both our hearts. And we're going to be talking about when decisions are made from a place of fear. And we've got quite a little bit of, quite a lot to talk about this. But what we really want to bring home to people is, how to cope when we're actually standing in a world where we're constantly faced with fear bombs.
Absolutely. And how to even recognize that you're coming from a place of fear. Because a lot of times we make decisions and we make decisions unconsciously. And we don't think about why we said what we said or what's spurring what we said. And I think right now it's imperative that we start being conscious. And I'm going to say it again, conscious of where decisions are being made, especially in a time when a lot of people are feeling pressure. A lot of people are feeling the adversity of the times. Some people aren't. Some people are just going about their merry day, but many people are feeling pressured.
Absolutely.
Where are your decisions coming from? How are you making those decisions? And if you're a person that makes decisions based on the environment, your decisions are definitely coming from a place of fear, because we as human beings, our natural innate standard typically defaults to projecting fear onto other people. And I'll give you an example. Oh, did you hear about what was in the news today? And we perpetuate
yes, we do.
What was in the news and the fear that had taken place in the news of potential, war situation or whatever the case may be that they're reporting on. And it's not that we really get that much positive news in the first place. Or when you're perpetuating gossip.
Yes.
Or when you're perpetuating your distaste or disdain or dislike for something. There's so many things that we project and that we judge and then project that judgment.
Yeah. So
what do you think, Stefania?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you've explained is perfect. And what actually happens, we're in that perpetual cycle, aren't we? We kind of get stuck into that cycle and we're repeating the same behaviors based on our fear, obviously, and based on our external information. And I know a lot of us, we're trying to escape the news. I know I am. I personally speak for myself. I try and avoid listening to the news. I avoid talking or, entertaining that kind of conversation. But sometimes we can't. So how do we actually deal with that? I mean, and do we express our views, or do we just sort of sit back and just listen? I think it's a really interesting time, or interesting times we're going through. And when I meant fear bombs, I really meant fear bombs. And we discussed this, Enolia, and we thought we'd describe it and use the word fear bombs because they're like an attack of fear, which then we start churning whatever's been said and unconsciously making it our own, rather than listening and saying, okay, well, that's that person's opinion. I am entitled to my opinion. And how do I best navigate through these type of conversations, or, I guess subliminal information and news that's around us, right?
So I think you've made so many really pertinent statements, and I want to take them. I want to make sure that we address all of them, because I think it's important to our audience that we address all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that you said was the fact that we create fear bombs, okay? And then the second thing that you said was that how do we deal with people who are throwing it at us? Mm-hmm. And let's just start off with that, okay? So when we hear projections coming at us and they're negative, a lot of times, this is when we have to know ourselves. We truly have to know ourselves. Because if you are a people pleaser, then all you're going to do is commiserate. And all you're going to do is agree with the person because you don't like confrontation. Mm-hmm. And in our times right here, right now, you can't do that. You just can't commiserate with somebody for the sake of commiserating with them when you know deep down in your heart, you don't feel that way. First of all, if something really negative is coming at you, if that fear bomb is coming at you, who is the person throwing it? What's their agenda? And why do they want to make you feel that way? What is it that's taking place that they would have you feel worse from a scenario where you're feeling, good? Why invoke that fear? Why do people want commiseration? And really what it is that I've always found, and you can weigh in on this, Stefania, that when people do that to me, it's typically because they're mirroring themselves. They're the ones in fear. And so what they do is they project that fear onto you so that they can have somebody go, yeah, I'm in fear with you. And then, everybody's happy because we're happily in fear together. That's right. Instead of, and I love a dear friend of mine who does this, and I'm not going to say anything, but because this is her work, but she goes, stop right there. What you just said has nothing to do with me. It has to do totally with you. It has to do with you. And you're projecting yourself. So if that's the case, having that person see what they just did by projecting that fear bomb onto you is maybe the reflection that they need back. What do you think?
Absolutely. I like that. I really like that. And, we could go even a step further, because I know someone who walks around with a mirror. And really, literally, I know it sounds really funny, but this like little handheld mirror, and puts that in front of people, because you're absolutely right. That's them being very comfortable with fear. And I guess they're uncomfortable not feeling fear, because fear can feel comfortable. That's what a lot of us, won't say all of us, but some of us are very comfortable with. That's what we know best. That's how we feel we can live, because we're always in, survival mode rather than actually thriving. And like you said, where's this coming from? This projection.
And
Sorry.
Yeah. I want to highlight this because this strikes a nerve with me, and I'm going there with everyone. I'm going there. Since when does fear interfere with the relationships of those we love? Since when do we allow fear to interfere with those we love? And I'm going there because I'm seeing it in public, and I don't like it. I'm seeing, fathers rejecting their children, spraying in everything because we're in tumultuous times, going, oh, I'm in fear, and just in case, and not sharing or showing love to their own children or their own family members. What is that? What is that?
A fear bomb.
That's a fear bomb. That's letting fear directly lead your life.
Yeah.
Because if that child died the next day, And that's the interaction that you had with your own child. Shame on you.
Mm. And it doesn't only stop with the children, may I add.
No,
It
you're right.
carries on to actual relationships. And I've also had to, I guess, work with couples, because both couples, individual people that are living together have decided to share a life together, and both have different decisions, different, choices. And it is creating so much friction, so much overwhelm, stress, anxiety on the relationship, where it is separating people, like severing their relationships right down. And it's a concern. It is a concern.
And the thing about it is that when you allow outside forces or tumultuous times to interfere with your relationship and define your relationship, then you are handing your power away. We all come from different backgrounds, and women deal with fear differently than the way men deal with fear. We're not even getting to that point, which is the purpose of our episode. But I mean, we have to talk about fear in general, and the fact that fear bombs of propaganda can define and intimidate relationships. Fear bombs and propaganda can define and relate and destroy families. Fear bombs and propaganda can destroy the world around you. And you embrace it in its entirety and say, yeah, that's right. That's right. Gotta destroy this relationship because of my fear. Now, this is different than standing in opposition and just not agreeing. Standing in opposition and just, you can't get along. Yeah. But then look at why you can't get along, and is that coming from a place of fear? And if it is coming from a place of fear and it's not valid, it's externally imbued versus something that you've dealt with since you were a child and it's internally needed to work through.
I was just going to say that, where
you need to step back.
Is it something that it's already there, but because of, the adversity and what's actually happening, is this bringing this up? And then, it's really bubbling up and surfacing to the top in your relationship. Whereas before, we didn't have those, I guess, fear bombs thrown at us as we are at the moment, right?
So let's talk about why fear bombs are thrown. Fear bombs are thrown, one, to frighten people. Fear bombs are thrown, two, to control the situation. Right? We have a history of it.
Yeah.
We have a history of the tyrannical person who wants to control everything. We have a history of the bully that wants to control the situation and wants to make sure that you fear them in order to keep that control.
Yes.
And so when that bully doesn't seem to be able to keep a hold of everything, what does the bully do? Bully more, up the stakes, get you afraid more, maybe even do a few different things to make sure that you stay in fear and that you feel fearful.
Exactly. So, having explained a little bit about the fear bombs and how they can come to you, because they can, be thrown to you in all different types of directions, right? And you may have them constantly thrown at you every day because you may be living with a partner or with a family member that is constantly living in that fear. So how do we actually, deal with it? How do we actually, navigate through these times of, adversity and fear bombs, dealing with these fear, because it's not, it's coming from the family, it's coming from the media, it's coming from everywhere you go, right? How do we deal with it? What's your view on it?
And the first thing is that I am the creator of my world. Turn it off where it comes. Where you can control it, start controlling it. Turn the media off. Look at who you're hanging out with.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have these things called homes, and we think that a home is just a place to rest our head, but our home is our temple, and our temple is what we create in it. Start choosing wisely who you let in your temple and create a place of harmony in your space. This is why you have a space, whether that space is just a room in the house, the complete house, but your home is supposed to be your place of refuge. Your home is supposed to be the place of where you revitalize and re-energize and recharge, as well as nature, more so nature. But it starts with you, and it starts with you being able to rest in peace and have a place of peace and calm where you're not getting any outside fear bombs or sources or anything to revitalize and charge and face the day.
Absolutely. I agree.
That walk on the beach. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I walk on the beach, even just to the local park, or just even putting your feet in some nice dirt or soil or lawn. I mean, I know I do that regularly, just to ground myself. But I just wanted to add a little bit more to that, Enolia. And a lot of us too need to understand that this is our temple as well. Our home is our temple where we rest our body, okay, and we feel safe and we share it with our loved ones. If we do have loved ones, to share it with, but our true temple is this, our body,
Absolutely.
which is a temple for our spirit, our soul, and we need to take care of it, particularly in today's times. And we need to feed it, good nutritional food, healthy vegetables, high alkaline foods, drink lots of water. And that's on a physical aspect. Then we have the mental, really fueling the mind. And that may entail meditation. It may entail prayer for some people, whatever they like to call it, connecting with God, source, our divine, but where we are recharging our spirits. And it's a bit like I say, and I say a lot to my clients, we are very diligent in recharging our phones at the end of the day, don't we? Before we go to bed.
Oh, yes, we do. Can't miss that phone.
And, plug in that computer. We recharge everything. But what do we do for ourselves? What are we doing to recharge our spirit?
Can you share with the audience what are some of the foods to stay away from that is not going to be conducive to taking care of people? Because there are certain things that we bring into our body that keep us in a state.
Yes.
And that's in that state of fear.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
That feed it.
And they are high, acidic type foods. And we're talking about, high, fatty, saturated foods. We're talking about, lots of bread and grains and fried and over processed foods, particularly processed foods, hams, stuff that lives in cans, for example. We need to be eating fresh vegetables, at least 5 green vegetables should be on your plate a day, believe it or not. Now, a lot of us don't do that, but in today's times, there are amazing vitamins out there that you can get, some great source of protein power, vegetable powders like greens. There's one that here in Australia, we call it all in one, 5 greens all in one, and you take a scoop. So I have a lot of greens, but I always top myself up with extra because I know that my body does go very acidic very quickly. Now, it's a known fact scientifically that if we are in a lot of under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, anxiety, our pH level does go more acidic. So it drops from being alkaline and goes into being very high in the acidity. And that can happen even when you have a healthy diet, believe it or not. So you need that balance, okay? You really need to calm the mind. I say quieten the mind, open the heart, and relax the being. And if we can remember these three things, quieten the mind, because that's where all the turning and, you know, the self-talk or the negative self-talk, what's been happening and what happened yesterday and who said what and what I got to do tomorrow, and quieten the mind, open the heart to love, to receive love, give love, and to really, you know, calm the being by relaxing, restoring, rejuvenating through nature, through whatever it is. So yes, foods are very important. Very, very important. Thanks for bringing that up, Enolia.
Absolutely. So, you know, it's so important. So important. And I would just add, stay away from sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Stay away from processed sugar as a number one. But I want to go on to part two, which is we talked about how to move through these fearful times. When someone is projecting fear and someone is projecting a judgment, stop automatically making it your truth. Their truth is their truth. Your truth is your truth. And as soon as you attach those emotions to that truth and start saying, oh yeah, and commiserate and making it your truth, whether it is or not, you've done a couple of things. You've taken on their fear bomb in its entirety. And frankly, you've given away your power.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether this is a man or a woman.
Yes.
So, you know, we have been taught to discern all information. This is a healthy attitude to have. Use your discernment. Go check your facts. Go validate what you suspect that you want to commiserate with.
Exactly.
Validate it to your liking. But automatically attaching to everything that you hear and automatically assuming it's a truth, so it has to be your truth. No.
I like
what
that.
Do you think?
I like what you're saying, Enolia, where do your research, do your own research, and you don't have to agree. You can say, well, that's an interesting point. However, I'm not quite sure. I may need to do some research on it. Be honest, right? Instead of, like you said, commiserating and agreeing and making it your own. Definitely. Because you're also not taking on that power, like you're breaking that vibe too, because usually that person that is projecting that, they're in fear and it's energy, they're vibrating that energy to you. So it's a great way to really just sever that and put like that, protection, I call it, not making it your own, really.
Not making it your own.
Yeah, it's like someone serving something up on your plate while you're eating and you don't want extra mashed potatoes, but they just happen to put it there.
They put it there, push it on you. They push it on you. So that leads me to the next point, which is recognize a bully. Recognize a bully. And if you are recognizing a bully, shine a mirror in the bully's face. Let them realize that you see them for what they are. Recognize a bully, shine a mirror in the bully's face, and let them see them for what they are. Because sometimes this is our dearest and closest family members. Sometimes this is our dearest and closest friends. Other times, if it's a stranger, then I definitely don't have a problem with letting them know. But it's hard.
It is hard. I think, and that's what I wanted to bring up there. So how do we, let's share with our audience, how do we deal with the bullying, particularly if that bully is someone very close to us? Because, you know, some of us don't like confrontation. Some of us would rather just, sweep it under the carpet, put the carpet down, and, not deal with it, or,
So sometimes and I don't have all of the answers. I'm not going to sit here and profess to have all of the answers, but I have some things that I know work for me.
Mhm.
And I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies. And so if someone says something and I really don't agree with it, the first thing that you're going to hear from me is silence. And then the second thing you're going to hear from me is like, well, that's one opinion.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that I subscribe to it, but I've heard you enough because I don't need you to repeat it over and over again. So you made your point. I am now done. And I think that we've talked about this enough. And I stopped the conversation.
Mm. Great.
So that's what I do, but not everybody always feels comfortable because even that's confrontational. So if you don't feel comfortable, then you say, well, I've heard your opinion. Thank you for sharing. And you leave. I gotta go now. That's enough. You know what? I'm done with this conversation. I got commitments. I'm done with this conversation. Gotta go. Excuse yourself and leave. Walk away from it.
Yeah. Know when to, I guess, pick, not battles. I won't say battles because you're not battling, but know when to stop those conversations from getting and escalating further to something that may not be very comfortable, right?
Right. And then for those of you who are comfortable with it, stop right there. Enough.
Yeah.
What you're projecting, maybe you need to think about it for yourself, because that's not my stuff.
Mm.
Not my stuff, and I'm not going to deal with it. And you pushing it and trying to bully me doesn't work for me.
Mm. Which
what you just said doesn't work.
Yeah, which I'm just going to say, which I think sometimes is needed, because, if you've been in a situation where you're constantly bullied, I know I have, and I've done, the quiet, the silent treatment, the, not say anything, walk away. And, you still feel that turbulence going on, regardless, it's just natural sometimes, we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know how to release it. We've still walked away, but it's still brewing inside. But sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zone. We need to get uncomfortable to be comfortable, because that bully may need to see you, like you said, just change your style a bit. Because when you change your style, what happens is he or she, that bully, is going like, what's going on? She or he doesn't normally do this. Like, you don't normally do this to me. Like, and it's going to throw them out as well. So I think I like that. And I'm just saying to some people that, hey, we may need to use that sometimes. It's okay. Allow yourself to, right?
Yeah. And then the other thing is that most of us, and I'm going to make it akin to watching a movie. Most of us are in the movie. We're the person reacting. We're the person saying, oh, how could you say that to me? Oh, how could you do that to me, and whatnot. Stop being in the movie and be the observer, and understand where where the information is coming from and what kind of a place it's coming from. So if you're with your partner or your spouse, in life, and they're at you and they're at you and they're at you and they're at you, then recognize that it's like, wait, stop it. You're coming from a place of fear. And on top of that, you're projecting it onto me, and I don't appreciate it. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm done. I don't feel the same way you do. Please stop. Yeah. And that's where it gets tough, because then you both really need to get vulnerable and say, hey, I'm scared, and I just saw this point of view, and that's why I was saying it so much. And it's like, we're all, we can all admit that we're facing challenges that we don't necessarily know how to deal with. But it doesn't have to break down our love for one another.
Absolutely.
we can both acknowledge and recognize that we're dealing with things and outside fears that we've never had to deal with before. We don't know how best to deal with them. One doesn't have to rule over the other in order to address it and discuss it.
Absolutely.
And meet each other part way. What do you think?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I'm just going to say that's why really focusing on love, focusing on having those conversations, getting vulnerable with each other, because love does conquer all. It does.
Yeah.
We need to realize that, all those emotions need to come out. And if they do, hold space for your partner. I really encourage this, to create a safe space that he or she can express, their way they're feeling, whether it's, looks really ugly and it's really dark, and whatever emotion that needs to come up, just be present, hold space for them, and just say, I still love you regardless. I'm here for you. I've got your back. Letting that, other half, your partner, know that, they're not going anywhere. They're still got you. And I think, the love.
And I think that we need to differentiate the fears between men and women. And maybe you can speak on the men's behalf, but for women, we love to create a story. We love to create the story of fear. If you don't give us information, you're not constantly feeding us information that calms us down, of which really we should be capable of calming ourselves down. Then we create a story to fill in the gap because we don't have the information. So we create a story, and then we get stuck in the story, and we perpetuate the story, and we highlight aspects of the story that induce more fear. So we take that fear bomb, and then we create a whole movie from it. And then we act and want to act on, or want people to react as if that movie actually exists. And frankly, none of it does yet. It's just a story.
Exactly. And
how do men deal with it? Because I know quite a few men will not show their fear at first.
No.
Maybe later.
Exactly. And I think with men, I want to fix it, or, attempt to fix it, kicks in. And this is why I say, gentlemen, it's not about fixing here. Just be present, hold space for your woman, particularly create a safe space, because, she will create chaos. She will be neurotic. She will get really dark and ugly. I mean, it's in female energy to do that. Let's face it. We're very emotional. And if we don't express it, we feel rejected. We don't feel heard. We don't feel loved. We create all these scenarios in our head, right? So this is what I say to men is just, it's okay. Just hold that space. Lovingly hold them, let them know that you still love them. You're not going anywhere, and we're going to do this together. We're a team, being a team.
And women, stop projecting everything out on your partner. It's not necessary to just let loose. And it's like verbally beating somebody, and it's not fair.
No.
It's like throwing the fear bomb yourself. You received it, and then you turn around and you package it with even more
fear.
And then you throw it at your partner. And it's just not fair. Stay strong with your partner. You're both in a place of unknowing. So where's your strength and authenticity of standing in your strength and your truth? And hold your love really, really, really strong. This is when both of you need to show that your love comes first before anything. It's like standing back to back And when two people stand back to back and they decide that they're going to bend down, they have to depend on each other. What do they have to create when they're bending down? They have to create balance. Stand back to back with your partner and go into that squatting position and find the balance. And don't let anything come in between you as you're finding that balance, as you're holding each other up. Come from a place of heart and come from a place of oneness. Really having each other's back. That's what love is supposed to be about. And that we can be individuals and different. And then you can let that fear bounce off, that stability, instead of controlling you and breaking you apart.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love this conversation. It's I think we've really touched on a lot of areas, and I'm sure our viewers will get a lot out of it. So we're quite happy to, we welcome your feedback and your views on this. So to all of you that are watching this.
Yes, and do share your situations in the comments. We'll love to respond to you, because when you share your story and how you overcame fear, then that is powerful for so many other people. It is very, very powerful.
Exactly. Wonderful. Well, that's been amazing, Enolia. Once again, it's always fantastic to have conversations with you, because I
enjoy it so much with you too, and thank you for having this hard one, because these aren't easy conversations to have.
No, and I like yourself encourage couples and families to have these conversations with each other. Don't just sit back. Don't.
It's so important, and that's what's going to keep the family unit together. And not separate us. And we've had histories of different things separating us. It's time to use and leverage what it takes to come together. And that's love, the love in your heart. And when you truly love your family and your friends and everything, you're going to exude that as your primary force.
And you're going to attract that into your life as well.
Attract.
Exactly. Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you, Enolia. So do you want to tell our viewers, for those that are new to our, episodes, because we've been having, I think this is episode 8, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is episode 8.
How can they reach you, and what have you got brewing? Because I know you've got some stuff coming.
Yes, I do. I have lots of things going in. Instead of going through a plethora of just different things, I really want to invite people to see my website at www.enolia.live. That's ENOLIA. Yes, there's lots going on. I have a women's retreat to Alaska going on. There's so much going on. I'm doing some work here in Africa, as well as just beautiful interviews like with yourself. So I'm so excited about all of it. And I have a newsletter. It's the very last menu item on my website. So you can actually see everything that's going on from the newsletter. And I invite you. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube channel, and you always find it under Enolia or Enolia Empowers. So I invite you to come, just look at it, experience the meditations, I do have clients, I do life coaching, and I have a few classes also going on right now. The one that's most prominent and that you can sign up for, the workshop, is Judgment Does Not Define Me. Judgment does not define me.
Awesome.
So again, all on the website.
Great. Thank you, Enolia. And of course, for my viewers, you can reach out to me at thegentlemanssquare.com, either on my website, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, of course. And you can grab my free downloadable book, which is 5 Ways to Make Juicier Connections with Women. So please take advantage of that, and also check out my website with all the new programs. And I do have my men's group for men. Sorry, ladies, it is only for men. How to build or building rock solid relationships for men. So you can check me out on Facebook. I'll leave a link down below. And of course, if you want to reach out for any questions, reach out to me or Enolia, and we will gladly get back to you. But be sure to leave a comment down below, because we want to hear about you and yeah, what is going on in your lives and how we can help, because that's what we're here for, to help, right?
That's right.
So thank you once again, Enolia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, audience, for wherever you are in the world, for taking the opportunity to listen.
Absolutely. Thank you once again. Take care, and love and passion to everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.